No Stupid Questions by Zesticlose Table 4805. 6 months to live. What are the consequences of racking up thousands in credit card debt? It depends where you live in the terms of the agreement and if any of your family have already associated themselves with the debt. Where I live, the lender takes the risk I might die. They can claim on my estate, which might affect my wife as part of the house is part of my estate, but it's not going to randomly transfer to my siblings or whatever. If my estate can't cover it, then the lender is sole. If you live longer than those 6 months, stuff might get dicey. There's more than one story about people who thought they only had a short while to live, racked up a lot of debt, and then not die. Should you somehow survive longer, this is how you ensure that the rest of your life will be super miserable. Also, your family cannot inherit anything from you if you die, not even worthless keepsakes. They have to give it all up as it's part of your estate, which has negative value now. And if someone finds out you might die, they might not give you more loans. Was literally reading a post all about E8S the other day. Thousands of people like I know somebody. Talk to a lawyer. Use your credit card to pay for it. I would ask this in the legal advice sub. I would hope that they wouldn't push the debt to your family, but a lawyer would be the best person to ask. That was my thought too, but figured it is probably a common thought when facing a scenario like this. Are you okay, OP? How are you so sure it will be 6 months? The estimates on how long you have for a terminal illness can vary, or you could be an exception and live much longer. You also don't mention that you actually have an illness, so I hope you aren't just planning on having 6 months to live. Please reach out if this is the case. No, your family won't be responsible for your debts, unless they have signed something promising they will pay. If you want a funeral, I recommend you contact a funeral home now and arrange to prepay for it. Otherwise, if your family wants a funeral, they will have to pay for it. If you don't want a funeral, or if you want to minimize expenses for your family, I recommend you contact a medical school now and arrange to donate your body. Consider that your family may want to have a funeral even if you don't want one, so it's best to make your wishes known to them. It's possible to have a funeral or memorial service without having the body present. You probably will need hospice care at some point. You should look into that, too. If you don't want to be cared for in your own home or your parents' home, you should decide where you want to go. There are charitable institutions that will accept people who can't pay. They tend to be religious. You could start here. https://hospicefoundation.org/ Can I prepay for my funeral with the credit cards I have? And I don't plan to make it far enough to need hospice care. Even if it's just a week or a month, I wouldn't want to burden someone with the care of me. I also don't want my last weeks to be a painful emotional roller coaster where I'm stuck in bed. I'm sorry to hear what you're going through. I personally wouldn't worry about it. I would travel and bang hookers. Enjoy your time. If this is some medical thing, it usually doesn't work like that. 6 months can easily turn into 3 years, or 10-20 years. I've seen it happen. Just live life as normal and don't do anything crazy. Also, debt follows you after you die, meaning not in a physical sense, but in a moral spiritual sense. Most cultures, people are afraid to go into debt before they die since the future consequences are much worse, i.e. you have to work an eternity paying it back. Yes, your family would be left with the debt. Why would that be true? OP is an adult. Unless their family were co-signers to the debts, why would it transfer at all? Depends. If you are married, then the spouse is responsible. If not, they will take it out of your estate after you die. If you are broke, there isn't much they can do, and this is the US. I don't know what happens in other countries. Edit. This is assuming that no one is a joint card holder with you or co-signed any loans you have. They will charge your estate. But once your estate is depleted, they can't go after your family. So it'll cause your family some headaches. And if you buy anything big they'll have to sell it to satisfy the estate's debts. But if you used it to travel the world there wouldn't be anything the lenders could seize to satisfy the debts. So don't buy a house or a fancy car with the thought of your family keeping them. It's all good. Debt isn't transferred unless you have co-signed credit. Live now, die later. Also, I'm sorry to hear that you're dying. I read a post like this, where the guy ended up living and he just had a mountain of debt to pay off, but he said it was worth it. The debt will be transferred to your estate. In lieu of a rock-solid bill, that defaults to your next of kin. You are not forced to inherit debt. That's just straight up not how it works. I think most of the time it depends where you live, and in most cases the family would have to accept the debt. Why do people believe this? It's false. If debt got passed to family then everyone would be in perpetual debt. It comes from any assets the dead person leaves behind, and if it isn't enough then the creditors eat the loss. It's the gamble they make upon lending. Deleted. Not true in the slightest.